Hello YouTube. I just finished working out and I would like to show you how I go about mindful eating. This helps combat my eating disorder. It takes the mind 20 minutes to realize and register that you have eaten food and digestion has happened for you to realize whether you're satiated or not. So you need to eat slowly, and you need to chew your food, you need to experience your food, and before you return for seconds, you need to wait for 20 minutes. Ideally, when I mindfully eat, I take this a little bit further. I discussed in another video about making sure you experience your food, you look at your food, you see the food, smell the food, taste the food, touch the food, that I always eat my main meals at a table. To prevent eating disordered behavior, I do not touch the food to my mouth in any kind of way until it is plated on the table. I take the time to make my food look pretty so that it looks appealing. And I make a meal, I sit here, I do nothing else but eat the food. Sorry, low battery. Now you want to chew your food as long as possible. This process, ideally, I try to make it last the full 20 minutes of me eating this meal. That's why I only do this to this degree once a week. I always eat my meals mindfully, smelling them, tasting them, exploring the texture, really enjoying the food in every sense, and doing nothing but eating my main meals. However, when I take it to this extent, eating disorder treatment, timer. I set it for 20 minutes. Start. Excuse me. And it's just me, my food, and my timer. No music, no TV, no conversation. Remember, when you're doing mindfulness, you're doing just one thing. And this one thing is eating. Be truly aware of your food. Food is just food. Chocolate is no better than broccoli. Broccoli is no better than chocolate. Food is just food. It's okay to experiment during these exercises and have unsafe food at inappropriate times, because all of these things are rules that don't exist. They're irrationalities. And you're needing to break your eating disorder pattern. Yes, of course, broccoli is more nutritious, but we're not getting there yet. We're not getting to nutrition. We're just trying to break your habits and get you to sit down and eat food outside of ritualistic means. So we have our table set, we have our timer set. And oftentimes it doesn't matter that chocolate may taste better, or maybe a trigger food, or maybe a fear food, or maybe all of these things, as opposed to broccoli, if you're someone recovering from an eating disorder. Because when you sit for 20 minutes with a single plate of food and really mull it over, your food often goes cold and stale anyway, and so if you have bulimia or binging tendencies, you lose some of that joy. The race to get it in. My camera won't stay. Okay, you're down here now. Sorry, guys. You lose the race to get it in. So you look at your food. Smell the food. It smells buttery and grainy. It's light. It's the size of my hand. There's little nuts and seeds on my bread. Let me take a bite. It feels moist, it squishes when you touch it. And when you chew as long as you possibly can. Practically turn it into mush. And describe how that feels. What's it taste on this side of your tongue, on this side of your tongue? How does it feel squishing between your teeth? Maybe smell it and feel it. While you taste it. Look at it. You want all your senses employed here. It's sort of like back when you were a child. It removes all of these barriers. When you were a baby, just touching something and feeling it and squishing it and stuffing it on your face, and you didn't even know whether it was edible. You want to be like that all over again. Doing this, associating mealtime with sitting at a table, is a mental cue. It prevents you from entering those former mental cues that triggered you to binge or to avoid. You sit here, you eat, and you eat for 20 minutes. Even if you don't have an eating disorder, this will help weight control. To just enjoy the food. Think about what it, and you think about where it comes from, how it's made, whether it's healthy for you or not. You really think about what you're doing to yourself when you dedicate so much time to put it in. Sorry to eat with my mouth full. Speak with my mouth full. I'm gonna try some omelet. Look at my pretty omelet. It has garden vegetables in there that I just put, and turmeric. Turmeric has blood-thinning properties, so it's good after you've exercised. It's good after you've weight trained to have glucose, a fruit, some sort of sugar, and a protein. Tart cherries, sweet potatoes, and turmeric and a few other things are good for sore muscles. It feels squishy. It makes a funny noise in my mouth. And because I added mint and thyme and basil fresh from my garden, it kind of tastes a little bit like grass. It's a grass omelet. I don't think I'll be adding mint next time. Smells really good. It might be good to boil in a pan for my apartment. Smell like mint. I don't think mint on an omelet was a wise decision. Smear some ketchup on it. Ketchup is shiny. Kind of looks a little gory now. My hands are getting greasy, sticky. Oh, it's growing on me. I love the smell of butter. We are now 10 minutes and 20 seconds into our 20 minutes of eating. And I still have this much food on my plate. There was a lot of monkeying around with the camera and other things that kind of interfered here today. But as I said, it goes cold sometimes. So I'm going to do this parked again somewhere. Okay, a quick summary. When you mindfully eat, sit down at a table with a plate, even a TV tray table. Do nothing. Don't watch TV. Don't chit-chat. Don't play on your phone. Just be with your food. Use all of your senses. Look at your food. Smell your food. Think about your food. Where did it come from? What color is it? What texture is it? Feel it. Pick it up. Does it have weight? Smell it. Chew it. Really chew it. Take time. Savor it. How do flavors mix with other flavors? And ideally this process lasts 20 minutes. Your food may go cold and it may go old by then, but it's not like it's going to kill anybody to miss one meal. And you didn't miss one meal. You just missed the pleasure from food. And food is just food. Engaging in this practice of mindful eating lightly, just being more mindful, having these structured positive habits, slowing down, chewing, savoring your food, eating at a table without distractions, paying attention to what you're eating and enjoying it, are positive for everyone. For someone with an eating disorder, this exaggerated version is particularly helpful because it really is like sitting down and taking your medicine. It's physical therapy. It reduces every kind of food to it's just food. It's not going to kill you if you miss a meal, if you miss the pleasure of a meal, if you're a binger, if you have bulimia. There's no joy in it because it's gone rotten cold in 20 minutes. And you've critically analyzed it to the point where it's not fun anymore. And that's a good thing. It's okay. It's not like you won't eat tomorrow. And if you're the other way, we can take forever to eat a meal. We break it into these little tiny pieces and we have all these rules and beliefs. And commit once a week to eat a reasonably sized portion of food that goes against the grain. Eat your trigger foods at inappropriate times. And typical people can eat a meal in 20 minutes. Usually they scarf it down faster. But in 20 minutes. So it shouldn't take you 2 hours to finish 2 carrots. Even if at first you have to throw a piece of chocolate onto your 2-carrot plate. Do that. And keep the minimum to 20 minutes. And describe it. And don't describe it as bad or good. Describe it like you would describe a rock you found on the ground, or a seashell, or how the rain smells. It's inert. Food is fuel. It doesn't matter whether it comes from an orange or ice cream. And so for an anorexic or an undereater, you may still not have pleasure from food, but you will have eaten food, more variety of food, more frequently, and in a reasonable amount of time. The practice of sitting at a table and eating gets you thinking about eating, and you really, after a time, you really become more conscientious of what you're doing to yourself. It's like an act of self-love in all ways, to really, if you're gonna do it, everybody's gonna eat sooner or later. Make it pleasurable. You deserve pleasure. If you ever want to break free, you have to break your rituals and your habits. This is how you do it. You have to become mindful with your food. And if you have real problems, you have to become extremely mindful, but in the right ways. And after a while, it gets normal to eat normal, and every little rule that you break, every time you eat a piece of chocolate for breakfast for no apparent reason, and you don't binge, or you eat a piece of chocolate for breakfast, which is terrible food, or you have peanut butter on your toast, that's fat. That's bad. No, it's not. It's no better or worse than broccoli. It's food. It's just food. If you can commit to once a week doing it, the more you do that, the more wins and free will that you have, the more you realize the world doesn't fall apart. You're not going to suddenly blow up and explode and get huge. The more you care about yourself, you wouldn't ever do the things that we do to ourselves to a stranger. Not even a stranger. And if a loved one were doing it, we would try to help them. Love yourself. Like I told you, love yourself. We are now at 16 minutes and 37 seconds. And because I talked, I'm going to give a quick sniff here. I'm actually quite hungry. Still very minty. Make a sandwich. Oh, it's good, it's sandwich. I'm sorry this is such an unstructured video. I had all these grand plans, and then I had technical difficulties. I want more butter. Eventually, I'll be replacing products like this with real butter. I'm using ketchup now. That's a step in the right direction. Oh, don't make unflattering noises on my video. Look at that. Kind of looks like a boat. I realized in all this mindfulness that I like sniffing things. Not weird things, just a lot of things. Smell is interesting. Or very ketchupy. This method of preparing my main meals, always eating them at a table with no distraction, and savoring them, is one method that's helped me toward my eating disorder recovery. Low battery again. And once a week, I set my timer for 20 minutes, and I do a full meal to its bitter, cold, destroyed end. And it reaffirms for me that I can have whatever food I choose at whatever time I choose it. It's just food. There's no great weight, nice choice of words, behind food. And if you have an eating disorder, you can't get to nutrition yet. You just have to find it all safe and normal just to eat, and eat at a normal pace. And if you don't have an eating disorder, these habits are good. Food is meant to be enjoyed. Savor what you have. And I am now at 1956. Thanks to camera, I am not actually eating mindfully. I am talking while eating. But I will time-lapse cut short this video so that it's fitted. My timer is out. and I want to eat my food, so it's breakfast time for me. More sense on this later. Good morning, everybody. Bye, YouTube.